Good morning, everybody. This is 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. This is Lawrence Kazan Cassini. Very happy to be here with you today. It's my second live Facebook experience. Hi, Jeanette. So I have a few things that I'd like to go over with everybody today. Deborah Crystal, good morning. So the last week, hi, Josh. Last week, I asked two questions. Hi, Gordy. We asked two questions, actually three. I said, who are you? Hi, Wendy, Dee, Dee. Who are you? How well do you know yourself? And what do you want? And this is actually the basis of a lot of things that we need to understand. Because when we go through our obstacle course of life and our business of Pharmanex, which is a possibility for us to do absolutely.
Please enter your PIN followed.
So what we have is the possibility to have.
Your input is invalid. You entered 5. Please enter your PIN followed by the pound or hash. If you do not know your PIN, please enter pound or hash.
Sorry. Okay, just leave it at that. So I'm trying to do this thing on the phone as well at the same time. So anyway, so last week I asked these two questions, and here we go. And the reason I mention that is because when we have our worksheet, which we're given in Utah, which is this worksheet here, on number 3, it's got the first one is pre-qualify, qualify, invite and present, and the third one is vision. So supposedly all of us on this call have had some kind of an understanding of what the business is. We've got some kind of an idea. We've got some kind of vision of what we want. But this is where it becomes important now. We're now in November of 2019. We've only got another month or 6 weeks before we get to 2020. That's a new decade. That's 3,650 days, 120 months for the year, the whole 10 years to go by. So we have to make a plan. We have to make we have to have in our minds very clear indication of where we want to be in 10 years' time. You got to see yourself there. Start with the end in mind. Where are we going to be in 10 years' time? Because if you don't plan it, you're going to be there anyway, whether you want to be in that place or not. So it becomes important for you to plan, for us to plan specifically what we want by when we want it. It's got to be time sensitive. And it's very clear that we've got to have a clear understanding of what it is that we want. So take time to see this. You know, look at, for example, where you're going to be living, where your families are, what you're going to be doing. There's so many things that we don't plan, we don't think about because we're so busy in our day-to-day routines. But you have to make a plan. It's a business plan, and it's a 10-year business plan. And I can assure you that in 10 years, if you do this business right, if we do this business right, there is nothing we cannot achieve. And I'll explain why. If you make real resolutions, I mean, like absolutely convinced, you'll find a way to overcome all of the challenges and obstacles. We have a scanner. The scanner is not just a device. I want you to think about the importance of this scanner and how it affects our lives, how it can affect our lives, how it can affect hundreds of thousands of people's lives. But we've got to maintain focus. It's like the dog. The dog's looking at the ball all the time. All the time. He's looking at that dog, at the ball. That's our scanner. We've got to stay focused on that scanner. And we've got to understand, what is the scanner? What does it do? It helps hundreds of thousands of people make educated lifestyle choices. That's huge. Think about how many people we can help through the healthcare practitioners that we work with. How many people we can help actually have additional income, validate what the physician should know about nutrition. That's big too. The physicians, generally speaking, have never studied nutrition. They don't know much about it. So we've got to try and understand what it is that we've got. The company spent $100 million in making it, or from the size of a ping pong table to a little device we put on a doctor's desk. Think about it. $100 million, and it's ours. And it's unique, exclusive, patented, and guess what? No competition. How exciting is it to have something where we have no competition, where we have science, technology, innovation, which is the passport to the future, in my opinion, and it's ours. And we can go with it anywhere we want. So the scanner is something that we need to understand the great relevance and importance this has, not only for us, not only for our lives, for the hundreds of thousands of people that we can touch. Lots and lots of people. So the thing is, we have to have discipline, organize our time, and remember also the compound effect. The small things we do every day, at the end of a year, at the end of a week, at the end of a year, that same repetitive little action that we've done amounts to a big action. You know, we talk about losing weight. I want to lose 20 pounds. Well, lose 1.5 pounds a month, and at the end of the year, you've lost 18 pounds. But if you say, I want to lose 18 pounds, you can say, oh my gosh, that's huge. No, 1.5 pounds a month you can do. So with the scanner, it's a question of doing a little bit all the time, disciplined, organized, and we have to encompass this in our lives. So when I say 2020, December 2020 or January 2030, this means we have to do a lot of other things as well. For example, in the wheel of life, we have to balance our health, our own health, our fitness, our finances, our family, our community, our spirituality. These are all parts of a plan of action that we have to put into effect so that by January 2030, which is 10 years from now, 10 years and 2 months from now, we will be living the future that we must envisage right now. We must envisage that future right now. But we've got to make sure we understand exactly what it is that we want. That's why I said, who are you? How well do you know yourself, and what do you want? Why? Because as we go through life, we will fail. Yes, we will fail. But we have to get up, and then we have to learn from that experience. And the more we fail and the more experience we have from what we've learned, the more possibilities, the better possibilities we have for future, for success. And success comes as a result of our failures. It doesn't just come because we plan it that way. It doesn't always happen that way. There are always going to be some failures. So who you believe you are, be that person. Be consistent, act in that way, walk your talk. Integrity is credibility. I'm just skipping around, but I'm saying that these are all attributes of personality, of who we are and who we aspire to be and what we want. And the scanner is the key to all of this. You know, when we look at this part here about the vision, create the vision, the Pharmanex vision that remedies their identified pain, to identify early inhibitors. I'm just looking at this, And I'm saying, well, new skin storytelling, vision examples, compensation. We have every single tool imaginable. There are no excuses, none. We've got our company, which has 75 scientists. They work for us for nothing, for free. I don't pay anything. So we've got the tools, we've got the science, we've got the technology, we've got the innovation, we've got the passport to the future, we've got the scanner, we've got a perfect storm in the sick care industry. It's only about us now. So we've got to have this unswerving belief in our success. So you cannot argue with success. If some people can be successful in this business, and there are over 1,200 blue diamonds in the company, according to what I've understood, 1,200 blue diamonds in the company. If 1,200 people can do it, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with us? What's wrong with anybody? Why can we not do the same? We have the same tools, exactly the same tools, exactly the same goalposts, the same rules of the game. And we're privileged to live in the United States, where we have everything else with it. So I just want you to think about the importance of the scanner. Imagine having no car. Imagine if we didn't have a car. That's how I would feel if I didn't have my scanner in this business. And I didn't have the possibility to go around and know and show people what we have. So, Scott Bennett started, I don't know, 18 years ago. He didn't know anybody. Students, but he started with his college, with his students, the people he knew in college. He didn't know anybody else. He had no experience. He had no business experience. And yet today, he's in 35 countries. All of us are part of Scott Bennett's team and Wes Blatter's team. And that started with a 19, 20-year-old kid. But he had the persistence. He had the vision of what he wanted, and it evolved, and he evolved with it. We have to keep up with what's going on. It's important to understand something. 85% of all businesses in the United States fail in the first 5 years, approximately. 85%. That's huge. But that's a statistic. Why? Because when people get into business, they think it's going to be quite easy. They think, oh, I'm going to set up a shop and I'm going to start selling this and I'm going to do that. And then they come across a hiccup and another hurdle. And when they've got $200,000 or $300,000 invested in a business, they're not going to give up that easily. And yet they do. 85% of people who start a business in the US fail in the first 5 years. It's huge. This is no different. Except that in our case, the investment is a joke. We're talking about $3,000 for $3,400 for a scanner, which is giving us the possibility to make all kinds of income and help a lot of people. It's easy to quit. It's too easy to quit. But if you keep your eye on the ball, if you keep your eye on where you're going to be in December 2030, start with that. Got to start with that. We've got to understand that the only way we can fail is if we quit. That's the only way. If you quit. Because if you stick to the knitting, if you stick to the plan, if you stick to your plan of action, if you stick to the system, And if you start to really know yourself, know who you are, what you want, and you know the people you're dealing with, it's a no-brainer. It's very simple. Not easy, but simple. So what I'd like to say here now is that it's important that we take things for granted. For example, we breathe, we see, we can taste, we can smell. We take things for granted. But the scanner is something that we've also kind of taken for granted, because it's just a little device that's there, and it's easy to carry. But this is why it's important for the history of Pharmanex. When we talk about the history of Pharmanex, and we say, well, wow, how did this actually come to be? How have we got this thing? How have we got this device? And make it a live thing. The scanner is something that is alive. It's something that can make a huge difference in all of our lives. So we have the possibility of having freedom. Everybody wants freedom. This is what we talk about, the vision. Everybody wants freedom, financial freedom, time freedom. Well, the way to get time freedom, the way to get financial freedom, is to be able to get in a vehicle where we can plan ahead and we can act on a system. That's why a lot of the franchise businesses work, because there's a system. So when we have a system that we can see, there's a system that we can follow, there's an established rules of the game, there are established goalposts. We know how we're supposed to navigate this. And as I said before, success leaves clues. Look at the people that are around us. Look at the people that go to the fly-in. They're very, very successful people. And those people are the ones who stuck it out. Those are the people. Wes has been in this, 17, 18 years. Scott's been in that also. John Whitaker, 15. Steve Moore, 14, 15, the same. What I'm trying to say is that success leaves clues. The company's there for everybody to see. The scanner is there, that is our tool. So my focus right now was to say, okay, what do you want by 2030? What is it going to cost? What sort of house do you want to have? What are your kids going to be doing? Where will you be? What will you be doing? How much money will you have by 2030? And you've got 10 years right now from today to start making a very precise plan of action. It's all there. So how many doctors do you need to see? How many healthcare professionals do we need to get? How many people do we need to get in our team? Well, according to the spreadsheet we've got, we only need about 36 frontline healthcare professionals to really make a lot of money. Right now, we've got pharma reps, medical sales reps, doctors, all kinds of healthcare professionals actively looking for some solutions, because everywhere else the situation is quite dire. Hospitals are going out of business. I get an email here every day from healthcare hospital news. Hospitals are going out of business. There's the Hahnemann Hospital in Pennsylvania is the oldest hospital in the United States, I believe. They're closing. Seriously? What happens? There are a lot of professional people that are losing their jobs. And we have the possibility of having this unlimited resource of people with whom we can build a business. And we can build a business based on what I always harp on: science, technology, innovation. It's science-based evidence, finance-based evidence. We have it. We have the aces. We have the tools. And the scanner is an amazing, amazing device. And we've got to understand the tremendous importance that the scanner has. It differentiates us from every single other company there is in this field. If you can test and measure something, you've got some, and it's scientific, you've got science-based evidence. So now we've got to make a plan and say, right, by January 2020, which is 6 weeks away, we're going to say, okay, how many scanners am I going to place in January? Whoa, that's a tall order. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. If you plan one scanner, if you place one scanner a week, one a week, 4 in a month, can you do that? Not only you, but leveraging your time with other physicians, other healthcare practitioners that do the same thing. Yes, you can. And how much money can you earn from that? Not from those 4, but from by the time you've done 6 months or a year, by the end of next year, make it in your mind, put in your mind, visualize. How many scanners do you want to place? It doesn't, you can shoot for the moon, but you'll get to the stars, or vice versa. You shoot for the stars and you get to the moon. But you've got to make a plan. You've got to start right now and make a plan specifically, weekly. Would you hire yourself? Make this analysis every end of the week. Did I produce? Did I come to my expectations? Was I really a stellar employee of myself? Would I love to keep myself as an employee? What can I improve? What can I do better? What didn't I do? So I'm trying to make a point that we have to keep our emotions and our focus and our discipline very clear. The plan of action has to be clear. How many people am I going to, how am I going to go and find these healthcare professionals? Am I going to beat the pavement? Am I going to go to LinkedIn? LinkedIn is a huge resource, huge. I had nobody in June last year. I had 49 people. I didn't know anything about it. And today I've got 8,300. I couldn't believe it. And it's just slowly. I'm not focusing on that. But as you start doing the compound effect, little bit at a time, a little action at a time, at the end of a year, at the end of a week, at the end of the month, you've got a result of whatever you've done. If you've done a bad job, you got a bad result. If you've done a good job, you'll start getting good results. They're reflections of what we do. So financial freedom, time freedom. It's the dream of everybody. You can do it. You can do it. The scanner, the focus, the discipline, the mental stability when we have a hiccup. We have a hiccup. Okay, get up. Stop bleating about it. What did you learn? And stick with it. The only way you can fail is if you quit. It's the only way. So I am very encouraged because we're at the perfect moment right now. 2020, I think, is going to be a spectacular year. So my attitude from right now is of absolute positive feeling of positivity, because we've got all of the tools, we've got everything at our fingertips. There's nothing to stop us, nothing, except our own cobwebs in our own mind. Get rid of those. Come out of your comfort zone. Think out of the box. Think what we've got. Focus on what we've got. Even if you don't do this full time, if you do it part time, that's fine. But do it in a disciplined way. 1 hour a day, 2 hours a day, 3 hours a week, I don't care. But Those are times that you set aside in a disciplined way to do this business. And by having discipline, by having focus, by knowing what we've got, it's not a job. This is a passion. Think about it. How badly do you want your freedom of time and economic freedom? How badly do you want that? The more you want that, the easier this becomes. The challenges become negligible. The size of the challenge is directly emotional to the emotion with which we view it. If you think something is going to be a problem, it will be. If you think something is not going to be a big deal, it won't be a big deal. It's entirely up to us, to how we view what we're doing. And if you have the passion, it's not a big deal. It's not. It's fun. You're making a difference to a lot of people. You help a lot of people. And that's what you got to keep in mind too. Keep in mind the positive things that are being achieved from this. January 16, 17, 18. Got another fly-in in Provo, Utah. Why don't we all try and get 10 people to come to that? 10. We've got, what, 6 weeks? 6 weeks or more. 7 weeks to get there. Now's the time to start inviting. How do we invite to that? We invite to that and we say, for example, wow, people have asked me, how do you get people to come to Utah? Well, we've got an expert on weeds and seeds. Wow, this guy talks about the raw materials of our products, Reishi Max. What is Reishi Max? It's an amazing ingredient that helps to build the immune system against cancer and so on. How do we know about it? Come and listen. They're experts on all fields. We've got financial experts. We've got scientific experts. We've got a company that's 35 years old with 75 scientists employed, 35 or 38 PhDs. We've got something to show. And we've got something to really show people to get enthusiastic about this. So we're just about out of time. I just don't want to harp too much on it, but I want to say we're privileged to have what we have, and we got to think about it as a privilege. It's not something to take for granted. Anna, wow, wow, it's amazing. So the plan is now, from now, to start putting in your list, how many scanners are you going to try and place? Not try, you're going to place. How many scanners are you going to place in January? By the way, we're in December, well, another week, Christmas. Guess what? We talk about volume. We've got an entire company devoted to skincare. It's Christmas presents. You know, I was thinking, I was with a realtor the other day, and she said she closes, I don't know, 4 or 5, I can't remember what she told me. She's 4 or 5 houses a month, I think she was saying. And she was saying, wow, I got so many customers and clients. And I said, give each one of them a LumiSpa. It's a present. It's $200, or I don't know what it is, $250. Less. It's come to $159, in fact. It's come down to $159. Those are presents that you can give. And those are lasting presents. And by the way, they're going to be using the creams and everything for the rest of the year. So think about your volumes. Think about your team. Think about what we have. Think about 2030. Where will you be? Where do you want to be? Every month, we've got so many possibilities. This is diabetes month. The scanner, 70% approximately of non-communicable diseases are preventable. Cardiovascular, hypertension, diabetes 2, and lots of cancers. Diabetes, come on, it's nutrition. We've got a nutritional lie detector. Think of all the places that we can go to, where we can show the scanner, where we can scan people, talk about nutrition. Okay, we're out of time. It's 10 o'clock. I appreciate your time. I hope I had some input for you. And thanks for being on the call. I appreciate it, and look forward to seeing you next Friday. Blessings to everybody. If there's any questions you have, I'd be happy to try and answer them, or at least find where the answers are. Okay. Thank you, everybody.